Welcome everyone. In this video, we will be marking the beginning of the Epic Online Services series, and we will be going over each and every function of the Epic Online Services in this series, like login, shop, leaderboards, statistics, purchases, and the subsystem itself. So this would be a very nice experience for you all because it's something new on YouTube. I have not seen a leaderboard series or a statistics series with EOS. I mean the videos. So basically this will be done in C++, but even if you are a blueprint guy, you just need a Visual Studio installed and you can follow along the video. I will be explaining each and everything, where what file you need, where you can find it. I expect zero knowledge from your side in C++. I will be also giving all the include files. Now, include files are the header files which we include, and I would be giving them in the description so that we are on the same page. And in this video, basically, we will be going and making the login part of the video. As you can see on the screen, we will have a login functionality where we can log in with EOS, and then we will also make two more functions where we get the account info. That means if the user is logged in or not, and also the username of the user. So let's go and start setting up the project and the developer portal itself. Let's go. Okay, so welcome back to the screen, and yes, I just closed it. Yeah. So basically, we need to create a C++ project and a C++ and a third person, and let's name this EOS tutorial, and let's just create the project. Okay, so I think it didn't create a C++ project, but a blueprint one. No worries, we will create we will convert it to a C++ project. But before that, as the editor is open, let's go to our plugin section and enable all those plugins which we need. So let's search for EOS and let's enable EOS shared, EOS voice chat, online services EOS, online subsystem EOS, and socket subsystem. And before restarting, we also need to go to our editor settings. And because we need to play as a standalone, so we just need to go in the play mode and then play in standalone, and you will have this option additional launch parameters. So just add a log word behind this. So basically, when you play in standalone, it will give you a log also, or else you will have to create a bat file to get the log of the game. So in place of that, we just create a log file from here. And yeah, so just let's restart the project and just let me enable one more plugin. It's sorry, it's the most important one for me at this moment. I can't find it. So yeah, here it is. Where did it go? Yeah, restart editor and restart now. Now let us add two C++ classes. One is for the game instance. Game instance, and let's call this EOS game instance, and just let's create the class. So now the editor has the source code, so we will just press OK, and yes, I would like to edit the code and rider loaded. So basically I'm using rider, and if you are using Visual Studio, the process is exactly the same. I will be pointing out which include files we need to include, and you can check them out on the lower right corner. Yeah, and let's just get to the rider. I think it's open. Yeah, so I will just trust and open. Let's close the Unreal Editor for now. Okay, so the editor is now ready to be used. Yeah, it is now ready to be used. So let's just remove this and this for now and get back here. So basically we need to firstly add uh, the configure engine settings in the configuration file. So basically on the left side of the rider or on the right side of the Visual Studio will be set seeing all the project files. So we have the name of the project US tutorial. So let's just go to config and open game engine.ini, and we need to add the settings below this. So now there, just let me tell you, there are two type of plugins. First is the EOS itself, that is the EOS main plugin, and the second is EOS Plus. So the EOS Plus is used for cross-platforms game. If you are using creating a game which you want to publish on both the Epic Store and the Steam or Steam and Android, things like that, then you need to go with the Epic Online, uh, EOS Plus plugin, or else you can use the EOS one. So we have already enabled both. They are just included in the same way. Just let me just open up Chrome. Yeah. So basically, if you want, we will just be enabling EOS for now because we are not going with any cross-platform or a Steam. So the process for both are exactly the same. I will just link this website in the description. So what you need to do is, for the project settings of EOS, online subsystem EOS, just copy this final file. And if you are using EOS Plus, making a cross-platform game, as it says, you can copy this setting. So as we copied it, we just paste it here and remove the spaces. Now the spaces are removed. So basically we have this part also ready. And before we start coding the important things, let's just go and set up our project on the EOS panel. So open the dashboard of, that is the developer portal. Here we are. And you need to just create an organization. That is just a pretty simple step. You just press on the add button on the left side of the screen, which you see. I think that's just, it just says create a organization. And if you have an Epic account, that is the only requirement for it. So you will be having, if you are using Unreal Engine. So on our organization, let's create a product. And product is basically a game. So we will just name this EOS tutorial project and next. And we do not need a cover for it as of now. And this will get added to our project list. Here it is, EOS tutorial project. Let's open it and let's go to the project settings. And then you will see we have a lot of credentials here, but we do not have any client or application ID. So we need to go and add clients. So client is basically the server and the normal clients, which is the players which will be going and playing the game. So you need to give them some certain permissions so that they can access the game. So we will just add a new client for, currently we are not working on dedicated server. The video will be coming for it. So let's just add client policy. Oh, sorry, client and add a client policy. Client policy name would be client policy, and policy type would be peer-to-peer because this is a player versus player match. And just check if in the lobby you have connect, create and join lobbies option, and also in the matchmaking you have all these except this manage players. So we will tackle this later when we move to the matchmaking section, but for now these are the permissions we needed and we already have them in peer-to-peer. So save and exit, and save and exit once more. Now let's get back to our SDK download and credentials, and we have all our values here. We do not need an application ID as of now, but we will, let's just set up that. So let's go in the Epic account services option and go to linked clients. We need them configured, or else authorization will not work. So we will just select the client and save changes. That is the client which we just created, and now it says configured. Now we also need to configure the permissions. So let's enable on-rail presence and friends. We do not need to enable the country, because if you enable that, the login will not work. As far as I have noticed, country thing doesn't work as of now. So let's just keep it disabled. And now we have both of them configured. Now let's go back to our product settings, and we have all the values which we need here. So let's put them on the left side of the screen, or let it be, we just run the project first. So remember, we have development editor selected, and the configuration is EOS tutorial, and this is the launcher version which you can get from the Unreal Engine, the Epic launcher, and not the source build. So it will take a few minutes and I will be back. Okay, so we are now back on track. It just took 3 minutes to build the shaders. I think it was just building the shader engine. So Unreal Engine will pop up in a minute. So let's just head back to the engine. Yeah. So now the engine is open, and let's go to our project settings, and then plugins and online subsystem EOS. And here we have all the options for the subsystem itself. So let's create an artifact. Artifact is the setting for a client. In short, it is like we will have two artifacts. One is for the clients and one is for the dedicated server, which will come again soon. So basically, let's create, the first one is client artifact. You can name it anything. Just remember, you need to copy this and put it on the default artifact name. And we need to enable the overlay, and we also enable the social overlay. And if you're using 5.0.1, that the latest version, you will have an additional option here for enabling the social overlay, even in the editor, so you don't need to use the standalone to get the overlay. So you can enable that if you want to get that. And now we don't need this, we need to put these values. So let's go, oh sorry, and we need to get this. So the product ID is this. So let's put this in the product ID section. Second is the client ID. So let's put this client ID here. Now we have client secret. We will put this here. Next we have sandbox ID. Let's put this here. Deployment ID. This goes here. And now we have an encryption key. So most of the YouTubers, what they do is they put 64 164 times, and that does work. What I usually do, I don't know why this is of an importance. So what I do is hexadecimal generator, and I put just 64 here, and I generate a hex and copy any one of these and put it here. You can also put now if you think you have put the wrong value, then it will not take it. So if I press just this and try to go, it says encryption key must contain 64 hex characters. So that's why don't worry, it's just stored on the editor and not on the uh, EOS itself. So this will not interrupt you, but you need to have an encryption key. Now we are done here, and we need to use enable US requires account linking, but uh, this is of EOS plus, so we are not using it for now, and we are done here. So let's just put this down and close this. Yep, because now we have the coding part. And now what we need to do is we need to go in EOS project source and open the EOS tutorial project. That would be the name of your project, and you will find the EOS tutorial.build.cs or project file name.build.cs. Open this and you need to add a public dependency module, which are, you just need to put a comma here and then add online subsystem EOS. Now if you are using EOS plus also, then you need to put that also, but we are not using it. In future we will, so then we can put that later also. Then we need to add one more and put it online subsystem itself. And then lastly we have online subsystem utils. And done. The build part is also now done. So let's close this and we get back to our game instance part. So basically in the EOS game instance, what we now need to do is basically add a function, name this, firstly add a u function. So u function will tell the editor that this is a function, and make this blueprint callable and give it a category of EOS function, so we can get it from the blueprints, and we can also like put them in category and check which function is of EOS and which is in the inbuilt feature. And now create a void function, name this login with EOS, and done. And now what we need to do is we need to create a function. So basically if you are using Rider, or I think in Visual Studio we do have this feature, I can press on this hammer button and generate a definition. And if you don't have this, what you need to do is just get to your game instance.cpp and create write void and then the name of your EOS game instance, EOS game instance, and then to this buttons, sorry I don't know what we call them, but yeah, and then write the name of a function. So in this case we have login with EOS, so I will just copy that and done and press enter. Did I make a mistake? Oh yes, we need to put the braces also. Yeah, so now we have done this part. So let's write the logic for our closing of the for logging with the EOS thing. So what you need to do is we need to create a subsystem reference first. So I online subsystem. So basically you see we don't get anything here, so we need to include have a few includes. So let's firstly include online subsystem utils.h and also include online subsystem.h, and then we need to add the identity interfaces. Include interfaces this online identity and identity interface.h. Did I make a mistake here? Online subs, oh sorry, s here. So yeah, so now we have all the includes, and now if I try to search I online subsystem, so now we get the online subsystem reference. So let's just select this and then we make a pointer reference to the subsystem reference. So this is the name of the variable, so you can name it anything. I will just name this subsystem reference, and then we get online. So online has all our functions regarding the subsystem. So we will just get the subsystem and store a variable pointer reference to the subsystem in this subsystem reference variable. Now, if you are new to this, then don't worry, this is gonna be easy soon, and we will just get the world. You can directly get the world also, but we just take this to get world. And now we have the subsystem reference, so we need to get the identity pointer reference to our identity interface. Don't worry, it may look difficult, but it's very easy. We just need to make an online identity pointer, and we just have oh, we sorry, it's already a pointer, so we don't need to add that star. So identity pointer reference, and we can get the subsystem reference, make a line, and get the identity interface from there. So I hope that's not very difficult to copy as of now. Now, one thing which we miss here is basically if the subsystem is not valid and we try to get the identity interface from the subsystem, the game will crash. Yes, if uh, like a variable is not valid and you try to take a value from it, it crashes the Unreal Engine. Whereas if you are doing that on Blueprint, it will give you an error that none try to x, and so you get the value that yeah, there is an error that the reference was not valid. But in this case, we just crashed the engine itself. So we don't want that. So sorry, we make a if variable. Sorry. So we make a if valid and check if the subsystem reference is valid. So in place of is node, which we do on the Unreal on the Blueprint part, we just put the subsystem reference here and put them in the comma. So basic, sorry, whatever we call this. So we now have this, and we have already checked if the subsystem is valid, hence it will not crash. Now, before moving ahead, we will just check if the uh, identity pointer reference is valid. And now what we need to do is we can just call the values from this identity pointer reference. So let me just show you something. Now I can call login, and we can just get the local user num. So basically, if you played a few console games, you can have multiple local users. So basically, in Android games, PC games, mostly it's 0. So we will just get the 0 thing, and now we need a F online account credentials. So we need to get the account credentials. Now what I usually do is I just create a variable firstly, F account F online account credentials. This you can just check the spelling and name this account details, and we need to put the values here. So it requires an ID, a token, and the type of logging you're doing. So because we will be using the portal, so we will just put that as account portal. But I'm sure you don't need to change that in C++ always. So basically, if you want to use some other method, and you will have to come back to the C++ code and change. So we don't want that. We will do that itself from the blueprint part itself, so that we can change the details whenever we want. And that's why blueprint is we can like easily change the values without compiling the code. So for that, what we need to do is we need to go to EOS game instance, and in this here in the brackets we need to get all the values which we need on the blueprint side. So basically we firstly need a token, so let's make an every string ID. Sorry, firstly need an ID, then the token. So basically ID is like your email, and ID token is the password. then we get the f string token, and then lastly we get the login type. So here it is. And now let's just copy this bracket thing, copy, and here now you see a red line because this login with us function doesn't matches this. It has a few input parameters, but we don't have any here. So we will just get the mouse here and just put it. So now the red line goes. And in the account details, what we need to do is account details dot id. We will just put id. Then we need to get account details dot token, and we will just put token here. So this is like enum, which is sorry, a struct which is taking the values of the account details, uh, and this id variable is stored in this struct or whatever to say, like bp. So it stores the id in this variable, and this id variable is the one which we set from the blueprint. So we assign the value of the blueprint one to the account detail struct, and same with the token. And lastly we also need to do that for the login type. Account details dot type to login type. And here let me just, so basically you see we now have an account credential, so we will just put account details and close the bracket and done. Now basically when we log in, in case of blueprints we have a callback, so basically this will return a value, so we need to get that value. So for that we just make an identity pointer reference, sorry, get the identity pointer reference, and on login complete delegate. So delegate is basically the dispatcher thing which we use in blueprints, and brackets. So oh sorry, we need to add a dot and then add u object. Yeah, and this will take the firstly in the u object, and it will also have a few return types. So basically it will give us the bool whether we were able to log in or not. It will give us the user unique net id and a few different f strings. So basically here now what we need to do is we need to add a function so which gets called when the login is completed. So it will have 4 parameters. So let's create a u function, and we name this void uh, login with EOS return, and it will have an int 32. It will be local user number. Then the second one is bool was successful, so b was success. You can name the variables as you wish. It's not the like it is not compulsory to name anything because they will just be used to pass the references. So the third one is const f unique net id. Sorry, we need to put an end and name this user id. And the last would be the f string, which will return the value if there was an error. So const f string error. And let's just create the declaration for this. Is there an error here? This looks right to me. Okay, so if you get the red line here, it is an error, real error. It's a bug in Unreal Engine. As far as I can see, we just need to remove the u function and it will get fixed. Yeah, as you can see, the error got away. and it's because it has input parameters, it is void, so it's of course a function, and the engine can understand that. And we will generate definition by declaration. Now we have this, and now on I login complete delegate, we will just add uh, eos game instance login with eos return, and done. This part is done. Now this will return us the error or whatever the problem is. So we will just make and check if it was successful, and make it print an statement. So add a UE log temp warning text, and the text would be login success. And if it was not successful, then we will just add a new UE log, and it would be log temp, and this time it will be an error, and text would be login fail reason. And we will just add this percentage sign and s, so that means we are taking in an string to print, and we will just print the error which we had this variable. So this looks nice. Let's compile this and run. Oh, okay, sorry. One thing which we left is we need to put an star here, because we need to take the error thing as a pointer. I think it will give an error here, but now I have put it. Yeah, it gave an error, but now I have already put it, so it should not give an error. Let's just run. Okay, it still gives an error, and it is on the same thing for this error. And for me, this seems perfect. Let me just compile this externally. Yeah, build succeeded. And now we will just, so I think it was the smallest thing. And now let's just run. So build succeeded, and now it will open the engine. Now the engine is open. So let's go on our content drawer, create a folder for blueprints, and right click, create a blueprint class, and the inherited from the EOS game instance, and name this BP game instance. Now we need to set this game instance as the main game instance, so we need to go to our project settings, then maps and modes, and then the game instance class as BP game instance. Now let's go and open our BP game instance, and just to verify that we have the function, we can call login with EOS, and the category is EOS functions, and we have this function, so we can put ID, token, and login type. So for now, uh, we don't need this, so let's just remove this. And what we can do is we can just create a widget quickly. Name this WPP main menu. Now I didn't give it like a login name, just because I will keep all the functions in one for now. And add a canvas panel, add a button with a text on it and name this login with EOS and select the button. You can just size it to content and style it to uh, none. That looks a little better for me. I will just change the font also, just something personal. And now I will make the anchor by pressing Control and Shift to this and position it on a bit of right. Let's make an on clicked event. Get a reference to game instance and then cast to EOS game instance. So you don't need to cast to the BP game instance. You can directly cast to the C++ instance, so that maybe if you don't want like this game instance to be used, or maybe want it to be changed later, so and you're not sure if you're going to use this game instance, or you need to copy this to another game instance, so you can just like cast to directly to the base C++ instance. And then from here just call login with EOS, and ID and token will be empty for account portal if you are going to use account portal setting. So I will just put it here. If you are going to use developer thing, then yes, it will not be empty. You need to put the IP, I think, and one more thing here, I don't remember. And then let's go to our player pawn class, and on event construct, oh sorry, event begin play, check if it is locally controlled. If you're making a multiplayer game, it won't be locally sorry, it will give you an error, so you need to check if it is locally controlled and create widget. WPP main menu, add to viewport. One more thing which we need to do is we need to get the player controller, and because we have already checked it's locally controlled, so we can use this get player controller. And if you're making a multiplayer game, you need to get the controller, so we can just get the player controller, local player controller, and then when we can set show mouse cursor to true and set input mode UI only for now, and pass in this. Let's run as a standalone and check if everything is working. So now you see we have a log here. So this way we can check if everything works perfectly and all the print statements are working, like it gives us the news that something is working or not. So now we have it, and let's press on login with EOS, and you can see the login opened on my second screen, which I will bring it here, and I will continue to app and allow. Now this should come here, and we can see we have login success here, and you are now online, connect with friends. So basically everything works as intended, and you can also press shift plus F3. Yeah. Oh, it didn't open. I think it's lagging a bit just because I have too many screens open. Yeah, it's lagging, of course. So let's yeah, but the main thing is now confirmed as the login is successful. So let's close this, and it closes the standalone. So now we need to add the getting the username function so that we can display it on our widget. So let's go to our uh, rider, and in your case Visual Studio maybe. Let's go to EOS game instance, create a U function. Let's just copy this and make it rename this login with EOS to get player username. And remember, because it will be returning an f string, because the username should be an f string, and because we need just the value, we don't need to it to be a function that takes up the arrows. That means we can make it a blueprint pure function. So we can make it a blueprint pure function, and we can have it EOS pure, and we don't need these IDs and things like that. We just need the get player username, and we create the generate definition. Now, because in the last case we had the void, and in this case we have f string, so we will just remove this void and replace it with f string. And here, now what you need to do is you need to copy this part and check if identity pointer reference is valid. Sorry, something is not right with, yeah. So now we will just get identity pointer reference and get login status. So before doing anything, we need to check if the user is logged in. So we will just pass 0 as the local user num. So before that it was just clear bracket. So we will just add a 0 here and make an if statement, and this will return the e login status. So we will just make double equal to and write e login status and double colon, I think it said, and logged in. So if the status of the user is equal to the logged in status, then we can get the username. So identity pointer reference, we will just get sorry, it's not user, it says get player nickname, and we don't need to pass anything, I think so. No, we need to pass something. It's not showing. So local user num, so it's 0, and that is it. So we will just pass this value. So now if you want to check what value this get username returns, so you can right click context actions and navigate to, or if you can also press F12, but I usually go to here, and you can see it returns an f string. So we are on the right path. So we will just add a return node here, and we will just return the player username. Now, if this doesn't return, so it will reach this part of the blueprint, and we will just return an f string which is empty. So if it does find the player and the player is logged in, it will return this player username, or else it will just return an empty f string. And let's save all, and let's create one more function to just check if the user is logged in or not. Now this will be used for blueprints like with the widget where we need to display the information of the user. So let's just copy this part again, and we will name this uh, get player login status, and we will just have two bools. So basically we, if it is, or let's make it is player logged in. So if the player is logged in, we will just return true, or else we will return false. So let's create it a definition, and we will just copy this part, And we will also copy this part. Yeah. So if the identity pointer is equal to the logged in thing, we will just return true. And if it is not logged in, it will again reach the end of this blueprint. Sorry, C++ code function, and we will just return false. Let's save all. Let's save all here also, and restart the editor. And we have it here. Let's just open all the editors which we had before. And we don't need this. We just need this main menu for now. And let's put a text here. Just a simple text, and make it size to content. And robot to tiny, and name this username. And on press this on this bind button and create a binding. Now get the game instance and cast to EOS game instance. Now because we already have a getter function, just the getting thing, so we can get the player username like this. Now we made if the user is logged in or not, so we can just change the visibility of the widgets depending on that. So we can just copy this and go down here and go to the visibility section. It should be here. Yeah, visibility, and bind it and create a select operator. So basically we will just select depending upon the boolean and cast get user. Oh, I couldn't. So let's just create. So yeah, is player logged in? If it is true, make it visible. If it is false, then keep it hidden. And we also need to use is player logged in once more for our button. So we will change the visibility of this button depending upon it. So let's go to our button, create a binding, and like this, make it select. Mhm. And true. So if a player is not logged in, then make it hidden. If player is logged in, make it visible. Oh, sorry, the vice versa. And let's play as standalone. So as you can see, the text is hidden, the username text. Now if we press login with EOS, it starts logging in. Notice this, continue to app and allow. Now it should run. And we logged in, and notice it changed to Betide Studio and the widget from here got away. And we now also have this, you are now online, press shift plus F3. So basically I set it to input to game UI only, so that's why I don't think I can press F3. No, I can. Okay, so yeah, I can, and I can just check the total progress. And an important thing is we can show the account ID from here. You can use this account ID to check the playfab thing. Sorry, the EOS thing. Let me just bring up our Epic online services and go to game analytics. So retry request. So you can see we have two accounts. Sorry, two distribution. So online users. So we have two online users, and I think that's me only. It just took it as twice, or it may be my second account, but yeah, it's only one. Yeah. So so that is it for this video. I hope this video was helpful for you. We have 5 or maybe 6 more videos coming on, from shop to leaderboards to everything you all asked for. So yeah, that is it. Thank you, and let's meet in the next one.